Sometimes the heart finds love where it least expects through loss. Through grief, through the very person destiny once placed quietly by your side. The night was still, almost painfully so, as Amelia sat by the window, staring at the empty chair across the room. That chair used to belong to Daniel, her husband, her partner, her world. Now it stood as a silent monument to absence. Her 2 children slept in the adjoining room, their small breaths uneven, as if even their dreams had been disturbed by the tragedy that had befallen them. Daniel's sudden death in a car accident had shattered their lives into pieces she didn't know how to gather. In the midst of this storm, one person kept showing up. He had Daniel's best friend since childhood. It's the man who had laughed with them at their wedding, who had shared Sunday dinners, and who had promised Daniel long ago that he would always protect Amelia and the kids if anything ever happened. Amelia used to dismiss that promise as something men say in moments of loyalty. But now, Ethan lived it. At first, his presence annoyed her. Not because she didn't trust him, because every time she saw him standing at her door, she saw a living reminder of Daniel. He carried Daniel's stories, his memories, his laughter, and it hurt too much. Yet Ethan never asked for entry into her heart. He came with groceries when the cupboards were empty. He fixed the leaking pipes. Grief may close the heart, but kindness has a way of knocking on locked doors until they open again. Amelia wasn't ready to let anyone in, not her neighbors, not her extended family, not even Ethan. But Ethan never demanded entry, simply lingered at the edges of her world, steady as the oak tree in her backyard. When her youngest, Lily, cried through the night, Ethan was the one who came over with warm milk and a steady embrace, rocking the child until exhaustion claimed her tears. When her eldest, Noah, refused to eat, mourning in silence, Ethan sat with him in the corner, talking about superheroes and schoolyard adventures until the boy finally took a bite. Slowly, Amelia began to notice something she had overlooked. Ethan wasn't just there for her children, he was there for her too. He didn't speak of Daniel unless she did, but when she wanted to remember, Ethan carried those memories with her, carefully unwrapping them like fragile treasures. Together, they laughed through tears about the silly dance Daniel once did at a barbecue, or the way he could never cook pasta without burning it. Yet, in quieter moments, Amelia caught Ethan looking at her in ways she didn't quite understand. His eyes lingered not with pity, but with something softer, something dangerous affection.
Ow.
It unsettled her. She told herself it was her imagination, a heart playing tricks, because it longed for warmth again. After all, how could love bloom in the shadow of Daniel's memory? But hearts are stubborn. They don't follow logic, nor do they wait for perfect timing. One evening, when Amelia's hands trembled as she tried to fix a broken shelf, Ethan gently took the hammer from her and said, "You don't always have to do everything alone." The weight of those words sank into her chest. For the first time, she allowed herself to wonder, what if Ethan was in tea just here out of loyalty? What if he cared in a way he could no longer hide? Sometimes love doesn't arrive as a thunderstorm, it comes as a whisper. It's quiet enough to be ignored, yet powerful enough to change everything. As weeks turned into months, Amelia found herself depending on Ethan more than she intended. At first, it was small things, asking him to watch the kids for an hour, helping carry groceries, fixing a leaking pipe. But soon, his presence became woven into the fabric of her everyday life. There was in tea a single corner of her routine where Ethan hadn't left a mark of quiet strength. Still, Amelia wrestled with guilt. Each time her heart fluttered when Ethan smiled, a voice inside reminded her. Daniel was his best friend. Your husband's memory still lives here? She would tuck those feelings away, burying them beneath layers of denial. Yet at night, when the house was still and her children asleep, she couldn't stop replaying moments, Ethan's hand brushing hers as he passed her a cup of tea, his laughter mixing with the children's, the way his eyes softened whenever she spoke. Ethan, on the other hand, was at war with himself. His loyalty to Daniel clashed with his growing love for Amelia. He'd promised himself he would protect her and the children, but he hadn't expected his heart to betray him in the process. To love her felt like stealing from the man who had once been like a brother to him. And yet every time Amelia's smile broke through her grief, Ethan felt that love was not betrayal, but a continuation of the bond they all once shared. The world outside, however, was not kind. Neighbors began to whisper, their voices sharp with judgment. Too soon, some said. Inappropriate, others muttered. Amelia overheard once at the grocery store. Imagine falling for your late husband's best friend. The words cut deep, stirring shame inside her. That night, she avoided Ethan's gaze, afraid of what others might already see. But Ethan wasn't blind. He noticed her retreating, her walls rising again. One rainy evening, he finally spoke, his voice low but steady. Amelia, do you think what they say matters more than what you feel? More than what we've built together? She froze, her heart pounding. Ethan, I don't know what I feel. I only know that when you're here, the world doesn't feel so heavy, and that scares me. For a moment, silence stretched between them, broken only by the sound of rain against the windows. Then Ethan stepped closer, his hand trembling as it brushed away a tear from her cheek. It scares me too. But maybe love is meant to scare us, before it saves us. Love becomes dangerous when silence is no longer enough to hide it. The days after Ethan's words were filled with tension so thick Amelia could almost feel it in the air. Every glance lingered longer than it should. Every touch, however accidental, burned like fire. Her children adored Ethan, running to him with stories, laughter, and the kind of trust only pure hearts carried. Yet Amelia knew the truth. If her heart gave in, this would no longer just be friendship. One evening, Ethan arrived with dinner, homemade stew, and fresh bread. The children squealed in delight, rushing to set the table. Amelia watched from the doorway, her chest tightening. This was the kind of scene she had once dreamed of, with Daniel: warmth, family, laughter. But Daniel was gone, and it was Ethan now who filled that void without asking for it. After dinner, when the children fell asleep, Amelia found herself standing by the kitchen window, staring at the night sky. Ethan entered quietly, his presence steady beside her. For a while, neither spoke. Then Amelia whispered, "Sometimes I wonder if I'm betraying Daniel by even feeling this." Ethan's voice was steady but raw. "Daniel loved you more than anything. Do you really think he'd want you to live in sorrow forever? Do you think he'd hate me for taking care of you? For loving you?" The words slipped out, loving. Amelia froze, her breath catching. Her heart pounded so hard she thought Ethan might hear it. "Ethan," she began, but her voice faltered. He stepped closer, his hand reaching out but stopping midway, as if waiting for permission. "I've tried to fight it, Amelia. I've tried to bury it. But every day I see you fight for your kids, for yourself, and I can't help it. I love you." Tears welled in Amelia's eyes. She turned to face him, her lips trembling. "Do you know how terrifying it is to admit I might feel the same? Because if I let this happen, Ethan, and it all falls apart, I'll lose you too. And I can't survive that." Ethan's hand finally touched hers, warm and grounding. "Then don't think about falling apart. Think about holding on. Got what we already are." For a long moment, they stood there, two broken souls leaning into the possibility of something whole. Amelia didn't move away. She didn't pull back. And in that silence, her tears turned into the smallest smile. That night was the first time she allowed herself to believe that maybe love could find her again. Not in the form she had once known, but in something new, fragile, forbidden, but undeniably real. Sometimes love doesn't erase the past, teaches you how to live with it, and still move forward. Days turned into weeks, and Amelia noticed how life slowly began to shift. Ethan was no longer just her late husband's best friend. He had become part of her daily rhythm. He fixed things around the house, helped the children with their homework, and was there in quiet moments when loneliness threatened to drown her. Yet whispers from neighbors began to rise. People talked, as people always do. One afternoon at the marketplace, Amelia overheard two women speaking in hushed tones. Imagine, moving on so soon, and with her husband's friend of all people. Their words cut deep, but Amelia walked past them with her head held high. Later, when she told Ethan about it, he simply looked at her and said, "Let them talk. They don't know the truth of our hearts." But Amelia knew this was more than gossip. It was about courage. Could she really accept love again, in front of a world that might never understand? The answer came from her children. One evening, little Sophie climbed into her lap, her tiny voice soft but certain.
"Mommy!"
"You smile more when Ethan's around. Daddy would like that, right?" Amelia's throat tightened, tears burning her eyes. Her son, Jacob, nodded firmly. I think Dad sent him to us, so you wouldn't be sad forever." Those words shattered the last wall she had built around her heart. That night, Amelia sat with Ethan by the fireplace. Children were asleep upstairs, the house wrapped in gentle silence. She turned to him, her eyes steady. "Ethan, I'm done running from this. From you. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know I want you here with me, with them. Not as Daniel's friend, not as a shadow of the past, but as the man I love." For the first time, Ethan didn't hold back, pulled her into his arms, his embrace fierce, trembling with relief. "Amelia, I swear, I'll never make you regret this. I'll love you, protect you, and honor what we've both lost while building something new." The firelight flickered across their faces as their lips finally met, sealing a promise born not from impulse, but from years of trust, grief, and unspoken love. It was indeed the kind of love Amelia had expected, but it was the love she had been destined to find. Outside, the night stretched vast and endless. But inside that little home, Amelia felt something she hadn't in years hope. Not just for herself, but for her children. For the life they would build together. And in her heart, she whispered to Daniel, "Thank you for giving me the strength to love again. And for leaving me someone who would carry me when I couldn't carry myself." For the first time, Amelia allowed herself to breathe freely. Because love had not abandoned her, it had simply found its way back in the most unexpected form.